Hello and welcome to the Steve Calis Show. I'm Steve Calis. If this is the first time that you're listening to us or watching us, then you're very, very welcome here. As some of you know, a couple of months ago I interviewed Lib Dem parliamentary candidate locally, Adam Dance, and it was brought to my attention afterwards that it would probably be fair if I interviewed all the local sort of parliamentary candidates from all the different parties. And I'm doing my best. I think that was a good idea. And so I got in contact with Serena Wootton, who is the parliamentary candidate for the Green Party locally. And we met at Cow and Apple in Yeovil. And Cow and Apple's this lovely little place. They do the best burgers in all of human history. So we met at Cow and Apple. And actually, I was surprised how much I enjoyed the conversation. Serena, much like Adam, I suppose because I'm not used to interviewing politicians, I didn't quite know what to expect. And both times I found Adam Dance and Serena Wootton to both be very warm and friendly and funny and not at all like I had expected them to be. So I enjoyed my talk with Serena. We talked about her backstory. If you're listening to this expecting, Jeremy Paxman, then then you're going to be sorely disappointed. What I like to do is I like to create a space for people to feel comfortable and to feel like they can talk to me if they want to and get them to open up about their lives. And Serena talked to me about her past, her motivation, why she wants to get into politics, and we had a great talk. I really, really enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, then please consider sticking around. We've got years worth of episodes behind us. We've talked to some really great guests. And click the follow button on Spotify. Leave us a review. Leave us a review wherever you're listening to this or watching this. It really helps us to get to where we want to be with this show. So once again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And without further ado, I'm thrilled to introduce to you Serena Wootton.
Hiya, you're right. Hi, everyone.
Serena, first of all, thank you so much for doing the Steve Calis Show. I really, really appreciate it. I think what I want to do today is just explore you and your background. Where did you come from, that sort of thing. So where were you born? Who are you? Where did you come from?
So I grew up in the Cotswolds in sort of Gloucestershire area. Yeah, really nice actually. But, not amazingly far from here. Still sort of southwest really. But but all my family lived in Somerset, apart from my immediate family. So my grandparents, my aunt and uncles and cousins. So I really had a strong connection to Somerset, but spent my youth in Gloucestershire, and then left and went to university, trained to be a teacher, and then kind of travelled the world a little bit with teaching.
Oh, did you?
So everything I did when I was younger, in my teens and in my 20s, was all about seeing the world.
Right.
I was kind of felt quite trapped in my tiny little town.
Yeah.
So teaching took me all over the world. That was my motivation.
So I spent most of my 20s traveling. Felt the very same way. Felt like a square peg in a round hole and I had the urge to see and explore and learn. So yeah, I understand that totally. So what is it eventually that brought you back?
So I met my husband and he persuaded me to move back to the UK. So came back, moved into his place, which was Reading, which wasn't at all on my plan for the world.
Yeah.
And got back into teaching because I had left teaching momentarily to do photography because I felt quite institutionalised. Been at school and then university and then back in school. Felt like I never really left that routine. And had a baby that, threw a spanner in the works a little.
That's grounding, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And then specialised in special needs, actually. So I was a qualified primary school teacher, but then went into special needs.
Wow.
And I just thought, oh my word, why did I not do this before? This is amazing, really rewarding, being part of a community, working with parents as well as children and other practitioners. I was very fortunate. I worked in a purpose-built special needs school, and it was, wow, amazing. Yeah. So I did that for 10.5 years. But I always felt in Reading that didn't matter how much I earned, I never had any money, because that kind of commercial drive to purchase things and to spend, really. So my husband and I made a decision really to be a bit more sustainable. I'd done geography as my degree, so I knew about the climate. I knew, I'd already voted green, but I didn't really see myself as playing such a big role in that journey, or the journey, or the solution, I guess. So decided that we would stop everything, sell our house, and live more sustainably. So live in a woodland.
Wow.
Don't really spend any money on clothes, just eat, and
Oh, so you're living it as well. You're not just espousing it, you're living it. That's
trying very hard. It is hard with 2 teenage kids, but
right. Yeah, I bet.
that all they want to do is purchase. So we made the choice to move to Somerset, and we found the business that we bought. My mum joined us, so my mum and her partner also live with us, so there's 3 generations, 6 of us in a house. I'm very lucky. I feel very lucky because having my mum in the house has really enabled me to do all the community work that I do, really. But so we bought a campsite, a woodland campsite.
Cool.
So during the summer, we earn all our money for the whole year, really.
Right, yeah.
If we want to do things like go on nice holidays or purchase nice things, then have to go out and earn 9-to-5 job. But as it is, the business pays for really that
That's
kind
really
of
cool.
minimal living.
Yeah, wow, wicked. That's great. Why did you make the shift then into politics? And what is it that you want to achieve? Like, what is your goal when you're in bed thinking about what it is you want to do? What is it you want to achieve?
I think I'd always talked about politics. I always understood that politics was involved in everything that we do, right down to moaning about, your recycling, or moaning about potholes, or, whatever it is that is in your mind and creates conversation. So when I moved to Somerset, I felt there was a lot of conversation in the playground. Like, this is the first time as a parent I'd ever been in a playground, because as a teacher, you're always in the classroom. I never did the school run. So it was my first school run opportunity. Bear in mind, my son's nearly 15 at this point, And then all the conversation was, it just seemed like nobody was connected. Things that were happening in the political front weren't connected to what I was hearing in conversations in the playground. Even at local town level, it felt that people were not being heard. The community weren't being heard and listened to. So somebody said to me, why don't you join the town council to start with? And I thought, I am missing that connection to community. So my role previously as a teacher, I was an assistant head. I line managed teachers, but I also was the point of contact for a lot of parents. And the special needs school was really integral to the community. And we did a lot of out-facing work where we invited the community to come in so that the children didn't feel so isolated or so unusual. And I missed that connection, feeling like I was part of a community. I joined the local council. And I resisted the urge to do district council and county council. Just do town. Just focus on town. Focus on that immediate community, and that's what really matters. But then at every level you go at, so obviously within politics, everything has a level. Everybody is responsible for doing different things. And it felt that when you're at town level, you're having issues with district councillors. When you're at district level, you were having issues with county councillors. Now that's obviously changed. We're no longer 3-tier, we're now 2-tier. But it still feels like, even as a prospective parliamentary candidate, I'm still being asked to solve problems or what would I do about the potholes? Well, actually, as an MP, you're never going to...
Oh, I see, right.
You don't have to deal with potholes. That is somebody else's job, Right. So I think this idea of council, or this idea of politics, was exciting. It felt like we can make a difference by listening. There wasn't enough listening happening. So I guess my goal is to listen. I know that sounds really vague, but I really feel like it's a powerful thing that people don't feel connected to their MP. They don't feel connected to people that are making a decision on their behalf. For somebody to speak on their behalf and not know what they want is really important. So I feel like before I can even do that job, I need to know what it is that people are worried about. And obviously, the reality is that the job requires you to be in London. The job requires you to be in transition between two locations, and Somerset is 3 hours from London. So it's a difficult decision for an MP to make. But more and more, I'm hearing that people feel very disconnected to London as an area. But culturally, it's incredibly different. Having lived in the southeast, and no, Reading isn't London, I'm not prescribing that, but actually it is completely different to here. Somerset is a beautiful place to live, but it comes with its issues. So quite a lot of my examples are Chard-based because that's where I know most of my information. But actually, I think Chard and Yeovil, unlike all the beautiful little Somerset villages, Chard and Yeovil are quite similar in their population and their negativity that they have for each other's town, not each other, but for their own. So, the worst people that talk about Chard are the Chard people. They put themselves down. The same with Yeovil. You read the Yeovil Facebook pages,
It's grim, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard work to read through and to find positivity. You come to an event in Yeovil, whether it's an art event or Christmas lights or whatever the event is, you turn up and there are hundreds of people here. And there are hundreds of people here that are spending money and that are happy living in their town. So it's about finding a way to tap into that so that people believe again in the place where they live. If you go to Ilminster, you go to Crickherne, you go to South Petherton or wherever, people really love their village. They really love their community. They're really proud to live there. They volunteer and they join groups and it's really active. The same happens in Yeovil and Chard, but it's dominated by this negativity. So it's really important that those towns feel positive about what they're doing because they've got some wonderful things happening.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've been a part of that for a couple of years with some. My company plans some community events, and we do like the Pride of Yeovil Awards, and we do all those sorts of things because because I've spent so many years travelling, I managed to gain some perspective in that actually this place is lovely, and I'm what a shame to think so poorly and bleakly about it. Because actually, Yeovil's very beautiful in places, and the community is wonderful here. It's just strained and tired, and needs some strong leadership. Is I think what the issue is there. I think.
Yeah. So I went to Oxford. I have been in a room full of Eton chaps, mainly.
Nice, yeah.
And I'm not intimidated by that. I can talk to that. I went to the Oxford Union, as a member of that, I listened to debates to some of the most amazing people of their time speaking about things that they're passionate about. So I can imagine that I can be at a table and I can represent Yeovil and I can see what is really important. And so Yeovil has a voice. But at the same time, I can help somebody at the food bank so I'm one of the directors in Child Community Hub, and we have a lot of people in that need a lot of food, that might feel isolated or just need to be heard. It's just about, I feel that I can tap into both sets of world. Mm-hmm. And the importance to me really is to be accessible. This point of not being able to see your MP is just horrendous. Mm-hmm. I understand that I can't be contactable 5 days a week because there is another job that needs to be done. But so in my head, it's about doing a bit of a rolling tour, going to all the towns, all the villages over a period of time, book people in, people come in and you listen. You listen to what their problems are, and then you can speak for them or you can vote for them at Parliament without worrying about that. And I guess the other thing to mention, which is political, is the fact that the Green Party doesn't have a whip. So I'm never going to be asked to vote in a particular way. There obviously is the expectation that you are always thinking about, you're putting people first and you're putting the environment first, because they're the two ideals behind the Green Party. So somebody recently asked me about helicopters. How do I feel about helicopters? Because there's a Green Party representative, there's a bit of an issue with that, and that's the biggest employer in Yeovil. That's a really big key thing.
Yeah.
But actually, my answer to that was that my grandparents ran an engineering firm. So their engineering firm was based in Bristol, and their biggest client was British Aerospace. So I understand what that feels like.
Yeah, good answer to that. That could be a tricky one, couldn't it? But
and I also know, having lost Oscar Mayer in Chard, how damaging it is when a big key employer goes under. That was really detrimental to the town, emotionally as well as financially. And the ripple of that was massive. It was well supported, and most of those employers did get jobs. So that was a brilliant result, but actually the impact is still being felt today. Yeah. So the Green Party will never ask me to put the environment before helicopters. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Right, sure. Yeah.
But do you know what? The flip side is, when you've visited 45,000 homes, and I didn't personally do every single home, but I did do quite a lot of miles, you really get to see a bit more of the community. Yeah. And so things like we were in one section of Yeovil and there was a community hub there, and I said, oh, look at this. I got really, really excited about this community hub. Obviously, being a director of a community hub in Chard.
Sure.
Like, and I even took a picture of the sign and everything, got really over enthusiastic about it. And then I went down the road and had another conversation with somebody else, and they said, oh, no, that's awful, that place. It's, it's not run very well, and they're going to close it and move it somewhere else. I was like, if you don't have the conversations, even knowing about them is one thing, but knowing how they're being used, how the community is accessing it, it just spins it on its head. It's like a completely different story.
Right, I see.
So if you don't walk it, and you just drive it, or you just pass through, you don't really feel what that community is feeling.
Hey, Serena, thank you so much for being on the Steve Calis show. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, my pleasure.
It was great to have a chat.
Hiya, you're right. Hi, everyone.